welcome back to another episode of VanillaTyme. Today we are going to do something a little bit different. Now, normally the builds that I like to build are either very functional or very efficient, or, some combination of the two. Did I say functional or efficient? I meant pretty or functional, one of the two, right? Like they're either a cool build or they do something useful. And I decided I was going to build a contraption this time that's fun, but not super useful. And to explain what exactly I am building today, we need to come back down here. Stupid Enderman. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but this is my very quick and dirty slime farm. So, as you can see, it's produced about 3 stacks of slime over the last month or so. And while that's cool and all, it's kind of boring, right? Like, I just cleared out an area, stuck an iron golem in there, and called it a day. There is a better way. And to explain that better way, and I say better in quotes, I'm taking you to my creative testing world. So this is my creative testing world that I used for last season and this season on the VanillaTyme server. As you can see, there's my dinosaur that we built in the last episode. And while some of these projects work and some of these projects don't, and some of them are just for building, this one is in fact functional. So to explain what the heck this is, I figured it would be easiest to explain it in my creative world. So as you can see, we have a couple of things going on here. To start, we have a auto brewer. And yes, it is ugly and it is way bigger than it needs to be because, well, I designed it. And I didn't use any guides, so it's a little bulky, but it's my redstone and it does work. So to explain how that works, I'll get to that in a second, but the simple portion of the explanation is we have 3 droppers here, and we have our nether wart in one, slime block in the next one, and gunpowder in the third. If you've familiarized yourselves with the new potions that came out in 121, you will see where this is going. So what this does is it will auto brew, when I press this button, a oozing potion, or 3 to be precise. Then over here we have a glass input that has an auto crafter attached to it that produces glass bottles. So it will produce the bottle and then put it into the dispenser here, which dispenses into this water. An empty bottle is dispensed into water like this. It fills the water, or it fills the bottle with water. And then when it attempts to shoot it again, because as long as there's items in it, it will continuously pulse a signal. So the full water bottles will actually get shot up and into here. It's the same system as how the mud farm last season worked. So they'll go into here, a little holding tank, and then there's also a hopper chain underneath that go into the brewing stand. And that hopper is locked until the system turns on and releases a couple into the stand. The stand itself is also locked, or not locked exactly, but it's sitting on top of a hopper that's also locked. So that way it won't feed the bottles and other materials straight back out through the hopper. So then we got these chickens. So we got a bunch of chickens here. And these chickens, this is basically just an egg farm, and that shoots into this dispenser, and whenever this dispenser has an item in it, same system, it just pulses out, and that will shoot chickens into the bottom here. Then, so when we press the button, all of this nonsense, basically what it does is it will auto brew the set of potions, and I have it on a timer here, so that it will, so there's the etho hopper clock, and then whenever this switches over, it sends a signal down over here, which gets picked up here, and that turns this bulb off, which gets turned on when we start the potion brewing up. And when this turns off, this locks both of the hoppers, and that sends a signal down into here, and that unlocks the hopper underneath the brewing stand. And that shoots the splash potion of oozings into this dispenser, which then shoots it down into the chickens here. Another piece of the puzzle is when we have items in here, which means that we've shot the oozing potions into here, that signal gets picked up and pulls back this block here, and that drops the chickens down into this killing chamber. Now, I've set it up here because I noticed that sometimes when the chickens die, like if they're running around and they die, the slimes go everywhere and they have a chance of actually spawning up and outside of the farm. So by having them drop into this oak fence, they'll stay here. And then the slimes, even if they spawn outside of the fence, they'll still spawn over here and die. But there's a good chance that they just get stuck right here. And then we just put a pickup system underneath, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, the next step is to build this on the server. And here's the farm on the VanillaTyme server. Boom indeed. So as you can see, I've created the farm to our specifications, and we've got a couple of chickens over here. And then if we come down here, we've got a couple of chickens that have been generating here. So what we can do is actually run the farm, and I can show you exactly how this all works. So we press the button. So that pulsed that, so that shot these into here. So you can see this is now crafting. And that copper bulb is acting as a monostable circuit. And so as long as this is on, it has unlocked, well, turned off these two torches, which unlocks this. So this is now transferring items. And if we see this over here, sending a signal all the way across over here, so it's the same thing, right? So it's shooting signal that way, shooting signal that way, and that allows the hopper clock to run. And so we've gotten 2 stages through. So once that's done, we'll be able to see this happen in real time. And there we go. Well, that was fun. These 2 chickens, interesting. I'm gonna have to figure out a new fix for that. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess as long as they move off in time and they still have the using effect, then it's not a problem. I guess I could run glass all the way down, but, or I could maybe expand the oak fences by a block. We'll see. I may have to tinker with it a little bit. I didn't do a ton of testing on the collection system, but that's the farm basically. And so as you can tell, it's not super efficient because you have to wait for chickens to load up in it. But I've run it once already. I'll put the clip, I think, of myself and Harding running the farm the first time doing the dry run. But if we come over here, you can see, how did we get a potion of oozing out? Okay, that's not supposed to happen, so I'll have to see what happened there. But as you can see, we have a stack and a half of slime balls from two attempts, so that translates to about 45 slime balls per run. And somehow we got a spare potion of oozing out of it. I want to know how that happened. Because wouldn't they all convert at the same time to splash potions? That's very curious. Okay, well, we got an extra potion of oozing out of it. That's neat, I guess. And then, yeah, it also doubles as a feather and raw chicken farm. You also get a couple of eggs if the chickens that were sitting there were laying eggs before you unload it or turn on the farm. So it does a little bit of that. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's, like I said, it's not super efficient. I just thought this was a fun, dumb contraption that I wanted to build. And I, spent an afternoon just trying to teach myself how to build an auto brewer. And I mean, I got it working. This is not compact at all, like I said. I have built auto brewers with guides in the past. Impulse and Mumbo both have tutorials for automatic brewers. But instead of using their designs, I just, wanted to see if I could do it myself with some spaghetti redstone. And I did. The one catch that I noticed was this here. For some reason, you wind up with like 6 items, or either 4 items, 6 items in this side or 4 items in this side left over, but it doesn't seem to impact the farm in any way. I was hoping to kind of have it run all the way across, but I think it's just because it's I have the buffer set a little bit higher. I might actually have to add an extra item or two into the system just to give it a little bit more time. I think that may be why the Potion of Oozing popped out. Unless the Potion of Oozing is like a potential drop from anything with the oozing. But I don't know. Not really sure. The farm also has an issue where it's actually dispensing like 3 potions, even though it really only needs to shoot out 1. I don't know if you noticed, but like the first one gets dispensed properly and the other 2 wind up getting shot into the block itself because it's already closed. And then it like gives these guys oozing, which doesn't do anything because it'll just wear off. So again, it's not super efficient, but because I'm only spending 1 slime block and I'm getting 45 slime balls back, which is, yeah, so I get 5 slime blocks back. So I'm quintupling my output at the cost of gunpowder, which we have a huge farm for, and netherwort, which, you know, we also have. Obviously it does take a little bit of blaze powder, but we've got that too, plus we have access. Woo, I just heard a enderbin. Why is there an enderbin? Get out of my farm, you idiot. Yeah. What also makes this farm a little redundant is there's actually a slime chunk right here. If we have 3G, yep, right here's the slime chunk. I have found slimes here. As you saw in the last video, there's a slime chunk over here, and there is also obviously our slime chunk in the ravine that we have the little mini farm set up for. So I have plenty of ways to get slime. I really don't need the farm. I just thought it was a fun thing to do. So we have it, and as you can see, it's in this little nook here. And I do plan on doing something with this space. I started by just digging it out for resources, and usually what I do in a season is I'll start, you know, a mine like this, and once I've dug out a good portion of it, I just start putting farms in it. So, yeah, it'll probably just be where any of my silly, goofy contraptions like this go. So for now, I've just got the extra netherwort farm in here. So I just have easy access whenever I want to refill it. But yeah, that's basically it. One last thing, if I want to avoid building up the chickens here, I can do one of 2 things. I can either break this redstone line up here, and that will keep this dispenser from firing. So I can build up the eggs in the dispenser and in the item hopper here, and then I can just put it back, like put the redstone back, and it'll shoot all of the eggs all at once. So that'll be kind of like an easier system. I can also load up eggs if I want to, so I don't have to rely on waiting for them. Because the babies actually do trigger the oozing. It's not just the adults that have to do it. You just don't get the chicken feather drops, which is fine. The other thing I could do is hit this switch here, and that lever will just open the sticky piston. It's just a manual override. And that'll just have any chickens go straight down into here. So that just turns it into, it just turns the farm off completely. So if I ever notice that I'm getting a huge build up here, I can do one of those things, and that will stop any lag from a bunch of entities. But I think the next thing that we want to get moving on is this. So this is a bit of an eyesore, and I do plan on doing something with that. But before we can, as you can see, I am building up a lot of wool. So 2 things need to happen today. One, I need to create the storage system for all of the wool here, and I think that's going to go right here. And 2, I need to get all of this sorted out by color, put into the correct spots in the storage once it's built. And then I need to take stock of how much I have, because I think I may start selling it in the shopping district, because I don't need this much wool right now. I may start doing maps later in the season, but until that happens, this is all just going to waste. So I've done a little bit of initial work on the sorting system. So we've put the sorter in place, and as you can see, it's again just another one of those standard impulse sorters. We've got ourselves color block sorted, and we've got shulker boxes indicating each of the colors. And like last season, if I want a bunch of a particular wool type, I can just pick up the shulker, and then when I'm done, I can just put it right back in, and it'll continue to refill if there's any overflow. So that's done, and I'm just going with that same acacia and calcite that I'm using for the inside of the depot. And I think it looks pretty good. A little protective barrier here, and a little staircase so you can get up and down into it. I haven't done much with the exterior, so it's just pretty bare bones right now. Obviously, I got to cover up the shulker boxes and put a little bit of work into the cliff side so it looks a bit more natural. It's very like, and when I say natural, I mean like, you know, like a real wall and not like just awkward terrain generation. What are you doing over there, buddy? But yeah, so we'll continue to work on this in between episodes, but I think that's going to do it for this episode. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe if you're new, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.